Thank you for joining me week 2 of 2024, January 11th, Thursday. We're reading today chapter 32, 33, and 34 out of Genesis from my granddaddy's Holy Bible, the Douai Rheims edition, printed in Belgium in 1914. Genesis chapter 32. Jacob's vision of angels. His message and presence to Esau. His wrestling with an angel. And I'm sorry for the shadows on the page. I'm doing this in different lighting because it's still dark outside, and I can't see the page without the overhead light on, so I apologize for the shadowing on the page. So chapter 32. Jacob also went on the journey he had begun, and the angels of God met him. And when he saw them, he said, "These are the camps of God." And he called the name of that place Menaheim, that is, camps. And he sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, to the land of Seir, to the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak to my lord Esau. Thus saith thy brother Jacob, have sojourned with Laban, and have been with him until this day. I have oxen and asses, and sheep, and men servants, and women servants, and now I send a message to my lord, that I may find favor in thy sight." And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to Esau thy brother. Behold, he cometh with speed to meet thee, with 400 men. Then Jacob was greatly afraid, and in his fear divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the sheep, and the oxen, and the camels, in 2 companies, saying, If Esau come to one company and destroy it, the other company that is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O God, my father Abraham, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, sayest to me, Return to thy land, and to the place of thy birth, and I will do well for thee. I am not worthy of the least of all thy mercies, and of thy truth which thou hast fulfilled to thy servant. With my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I return with 2 companies. Deliver me from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him, lest perhaps he come and kill the mother with the children. Thou didst say that thou wouldest do well by me, and multiply my seed like the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And when he had slept there that night, he set apart of the things which he had presents for his brother Esau 200 she-goats, 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams. 30 milk camels came with their colts, 40 kine, and 20 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 of their foals. And he sent them by the hands of his servant, every drove by itself. And he said to his servants, Go before me, and let there be a space between drove and drove. And he commanded the first, saying, If thou meet my brother Esau, and he ask thee, Who art thou? Or whither goest thou? Or whose are these before thee? Thou shalt answer, Thy servant Jacob's. He hath sent them as a present to my lord Esau, and he cometh after us. In like manner he commanded the second and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, Speak ye the same words to Esau when ye find him. And ye shall add, Thy servant Jacob himself also followeth after us. For he said, I will appease him with presents that go before, and afterwards I will see him. Perhaps he will be gracious to me. So the presents went before him, but himself lodged that night in the camp. And rising early, he took his 2 wives, his 2 handmaids, with his 11 sons, and passed over the ford of Jacob. And when all things were brought over that belonged to him, he remained alone. And behold, a man wrestled with him till morning. And when he saw that he could not overcome him, he touched the sinew of his thigh, and forthwith it shrank. And he said to him, Let me go, for it is at break of day. He answered, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said, What is thy name? He answered, Jacob. But he said, Thy name shall not be called Jacob, but Israel. For if thou hast been strong against God, how much more shalt thou prevail against men? Jacob asked him, Tell me by what name thou art called. He answered, Why dost thou ask my name? And he blessed him in the same place. And Jacob called the name of the place Phanuel, saying, I have seen God face to face, and my soul has been saved. And he immediately the sun rose upon him, after he was past Phanuel, but he halted on his foot. Therefore the children of Israel unto this day eat not sinew that shrank in Jacob's thigh. Eat not the sinew that shrank in Jacob's thigh, because he touched the sinew of his thigh, and it shrank. Chapter 33. Jacob and Esau meet. Jacob goeth to Salem, or Salem, where he raiseth an altar. And Jacob, lifting up his eyes, saw Esau coming, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children of Leah and of Rachel, and of 2 handmaids. And he put both the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children in the second place, and Rachel and Joseph last. And he went forward, and bowed down with his face to the ground 7 times, until his brother came near. Then Esau ran to meet his brother, and embraced him, and clasping him fast about the neck, and kissing him, he wept. And lifting up his eyes, he saw the women and their children, and said, What mean these? And do they belong to thee? He answered, They are the children which God hath given to me, thy servant. Then the handmaids and their children came near, and bowed themselves. Leah also with her children came near, and bowed down in like manner. And last of all Joseph and Rachel bowed down. And Esau said, What are the droves that I meet? He answered, That I might favor before my Lord, that I might find favor before my Lord. But he said, I have plenty, my brother. Keep what is thine for thyself. And Jacob said, Do not so, I beseech thee. But if I have found favor in thy eyes, receive a little present at my hands. For I have seen thy face as if I should have seen the countenance of God. Be gracious to me, and take the blessing which I have brought thee, and which God hath given me, whom giveth all things. He took it with much ado, at his brother's earnest pressing him, and said, Let us go on together, and I will accompany thee in thy journey. And Jacob said, My Lord, thou knowest that I have with me tender children, and sheep and kind with young, which if I should cause to be overdriven, in one day all the flocks will die. May it please my Lord to go before his servant, and I will follow softly after him, as shall my children be able, until I come to my Lord in Seir. Esau answered, I beseech thee, that some of the people at least, who are with me may stay to accompany thee in the way. And he said, There is no necessity. I want nothing else but only to find favor in my Lord in thy sight. So Esau returned that day the way that he came to Seir, and Jacob came to Succoth, where having built a house and pitched tents, he called the name of the place Succoth, that is, tents. And he passed over Salem to Salem, a city of the Sichemites, after he returned from Mesopotamia of Syria, and he dwelt by the town. And he bought that part of the field in which he pitched his tents of the children of Hamor, father of Sichem, for 100 lambs. And raising an altar there, he invoked upon it the most mighty God of Israel. Chapter 34. Dina is ravished, for which the Sichemites are destroyed. And Dina, the daughter of Leah, went out to see the women of that country. And when Sichem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of that land, saw her, he was in love with her, and took her away and lay with her, ravishing the virgin. And his soul was fast knit unto her, and whereas she was sad, he comforted her with sweet words. And going to Hamor his father, he said, Get me this damsel to wife. But when Jacob had heard this, his sons being absent and employed in feeding the cattle, he held his peace till they came back. And when Hamor the father of Sichem come out to speak to Jacob, behold, his sons came from the field. And hearing what had passed, they were exceedingly angry, because he had done a foul thing in Israel, and committed an unlawful act in ravishing Jacob's daughter. And Hamor spoke to them, The soul of my son Sichem has a longing for your daughter. Give her him to wife, and let us contract marriages one with another. Give us your daughters, and take our daughters, and dwell with us. The land is at your command. Till, trade, and possess it. Sichem also said to her father and to her brethren, Let me find favor in your sight, and whatsoever you shall appoint I will give. Raise the dowry, and ask gifts, and I will gladly give what you shall demand. Only give me this damsel to wife. The sons of Jacob answered Sichem and his father deceitfully, being enraged at the deflowering of their sister. We cannot do what you demand, nor give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, which with us is unlawful and abominable. But in this we may be allied with you, if you will be like us, and all the male sex among you be circumcised. Then we will mutually give and take your daughters and ours, and we will dwell with you, and we will be one people. But if you will not be circumcised, we will take our daughter and depart. And their offer pleased Hamor and Sichem his son. And the young man made no delay, but forthwith fulfilled what was required, for he loved the damsel exceedingly. And he was the greatest man in all his father's house. And going into the gate of the city, they spoke to the people, These men are peaceable and willing to dwell with us. Let them trade in the land, and till it, which being large and wide wanteth men to till it. We shall take their daughters for their wives, and we will give them ours. One thing there is for which so great a good is deferred. We must circumcise every male among us, following the manner of their nation, and their substance, and cattle, and all that they possess shall be ours. Only in this let us condescend, and by dwelling together we shall make one people. And they all agreed, and circumcised all the males. And behold, the third day, when the pain of the wound was greatest, two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, the brothers of Dina, taking their swords, entered boldly into the city, and slew all the men And they killed also Hamor and Sichem, and took away their sister Dina out of Sichem's house. And when they were gone out, the other sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and plundered the city in revenge of the rape. And they took their sheep and their herds and their asses, wasting all they had in their houses and in the fields. And their children and wives they took captive. And when they had boldly perpetrated these things, Jacob said to Sichem and Levi, You have troubled me, and made me hateful to the Canaanites and Pezerites, the inhabitants of this land. We are few, they will gather themselves together and kill me, and both I and my house shall be destroyed. They answered, Should they abuse our sister as a strumpet? And I didn't read the subtext yesterday, so I'm going to go back to chapter 31 and read the subtext. Actually, I think I'm going to go back to chapter 30 and read the subtext. There wasn't any for 30. 31, verse 19. Her father's idols. By this it appears that Laban was an idolater. Some of the fathers are of opinion that Rachel stole away these idols to withdraw him from idolatry, removing the occasion of his sin. Chapter 32, verse 24. A man, this was an angel, in human shape, as we learn from OC 12:4. He is called God, verse 28 and 30, because he represented the person of the Son of God. This wrestling, in which Jacob assisted by God, was a match for an angel, was so ordered that he might learn by this experiment of the divine assistance that neither Esau nor any other man should have power to hurt him. It was all spiritual, as appeareth by his earnest prayer, urging, and at last obtaining the angel's blessing. Verse 30. Phanuel. This word signifies the face of God, or the sight or seeing of God. Chapter 34, verse 13. Deceitfully. The sons of Jacob, on this occasion, were guilty of a grievous sin, as well by falsely pretending religion as an excess of revenge, as by excess of revenge. Though otherwise, their zeal against so foul a crime was commendable. This concludes our Bible reading for today, January 11th, Thursday, 2024. Please join me again tomorrow. We'll be reading chapters 35, 36, and 37. Thank you and have a blessed day.